Existence, how do the elements fit in? What created them? Are we also wind, water, fire? So I will give a Vedantic interpretation. It says, from Atma, Akasha is born. In the creation of this Akasha, then Vayu to Agni, Agni to water, Apaha, and then Prithvi. As you look at this structure of this, one is a space, thus we need anything to exist. And from then on, if you look at it, if you look at just from scientific point, you go from a liquid state to the gaseous state to liquid state to solid state. And the energy is required for all these things as a basis. So energy is also part of the Agni is represented, and you have the Vayu, and then the Jalam and the Earth. Earth includes all the elements that we are talking about, the grossification. But in the creation of the according to Vedanta, first 5 subtle elements are born. This is called, they are in the subtle form. And they become a grossification by combining with each other. They're called Panchikaranam. I don't want to go into all those details, but since the question is asked here. So the way I only explain what it is. You can have your own theory, but this is a Vedantic theory. What it says is every element like Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apa, everyone splits into half. So Akasha splits into half. The Akasha Vayu splits into half, like that every element splits into half. The one half remains as it is, the other half divides into 4 more parts. It divides into 4 parts. So you have one half as it is, the other half divides into 4 parts. That's clear? Then one part of each is distributed to the remaining 4. So Akasha has total, you have split into 2 parts, and one part, half of that is split into 4 parts and distributed to the rest of the 4. Similarly, Vayu is split into half, keeping half of it, other 4 parts distributed to the remaining 4. Like that, that is called Panchikaranam. Panchikaranam means a grossification. And before that, there is a subtle elements. Now you have a grosser elements, and these grosser elements form a basis for the creation of all gross equipments, world and the matter. So in every matter that's created, the one you remember dividing and distributing, every one element has a little bit of Akasha, a little bit of Vayu, a little bit of all these rest of the 4 elements in each one embedded. So every element has all other 4 elements in the grossification. In the subtle part, you have only each one is pure as they are. Okay, this is all the classification. The subtle body is formed by the subtle elements because it's subtle. Gross body is born from gross elements. All the whole world, 14 lokas, you need a gross, the matter. So born with the gross after Panchikaranam. So whole creation is accounted by this. So all elements that are included, if you take electrons, protons, all elements are come out. All 110, periodic table came out with that, right? It's only packaging only now. So everything is included in the total process as it is. You cannot bring anything else beyond these 5 elements. 5 elements are emphasized because we have 5 senses. Remember I told you each one. So if you go to Panchadasi, the tapes are available if you want, we are taking that. Panchadasi is Akasha related to Shabdam. Remember I mentioned each element is associated with one of these, the property, and the property is measured by the senses. So all that are interrelated and everything is compactly, precisely described there. Now I can't think of anything beyond this. You can have your own theory. But this is the theory. Unless you prove this theory wrong, then you can propose your own theory, and that's okay. But this is the theory as per the Vedanta, how the creation is accounted. At the level of Vyavaharika Satyam, from the point of absolute, there is no creation. Remember, all these things have to be understood. Now, how does this creation occur? Now I'll ask the same question. When I go to dream state, you are creating the whole world. How are you creating? Now you answer the question. Because all you say, you find yourself in the creation there, and now I ask you, how did it come from? I can give you a theory now. Akasha came from Akasha, Vayu, all those things came. It's not a sequential creation. Then sequential creations involves a time, remember? But it's not really a time factor there. But explanation is offered to you, provide you to logic to go beyond the explanation and then to find yourself there is no creation. Follow? This is all transactional reality. Just because it's a word, you say, okay, you created the trees and the birds, all that in your dream. But when I come out of it, now I ask you, what happened to all those matter that you created? So what matter? It doesn't matter now anymore. Because all that is in your own mind, sankalpam only. So reality of the inert materials and all that is only mental notions now. And the same thing happens in that. So within the level, we can have a logical explanation to the degree possible, because it's illogical to start with. Because there is no really validity. That's much I can explain. Coming from a science, I'm a material scientist, by the way. And I don't know anything about material, because there's no real material there. So that is the situation. After death, how long does it take for subtle body to inhibit the other gross body? Either I have to die and tell you to to explain to you.
Maybe inhabit, maybe? I don't know.
Inhibit another gross. But it depends upon your vasanas, powerful vasana. Now, how long it takes you for you to go from a dream state, from a waking state to a dream state? Tell me. You are creating a new body there. You are having the world, and that is, as far as you are concerned, as real, and you are there creating as a jiva. Now, tell me how long it took for you to go from this world, which is waking world, to the dream world. Who is going to answer it? A waker is going to answer, or a dreamer is going to answer? Neither one can answer properly. Now, for that, scripture alone is pramana. Okay? Now, how the scripture answers says, we do shraddham. You know, when perform, we say it takes 10 days possible, and on the 13th day, we celebrate Mahasamadhi, the Samaradhana. Vaikuntha Aradhana, we call it in there. I don't know what Shiva's people say. I don't know whether they go to Vaikuntha or cold place. Shiva. So, but it is what that means. The 13th day they have reached the highest. So, for our purposes, we can take it as that is the time. Okay. But if you have a lot of asanas and you want to come back, if you're not a Vedantic student and don't attend these camps, then you have to go depending upon your the karma, and there is, if you are really upasaka and all that, you can go up to Satyaloka. In the 8th chapter is Brahma, up to Brahmaloka you can go. There Brahmaji also gives Vedanta classes. I'm not kidding. It is in the Chandogya Upanishad, there is an announcement. In the announcement, he announces, there is an announcement that hey, there are going to be Vedanta classes. Only 2 people register. There are at least more people here. Only 2 people register, but one drops out after first class. And each class is once in 30 years. This is in the Chandogya Upanishad, by the way. Each class, 30 years, now you go and think about what I taught you. So after 30 years, he realized that that's not complete. So he comes back, and then he will see once more, and another 30 years. Like that, Indra was the only student left for Brahmaji, and each time 30 years. So if you want to go that course, you are welcome. Or attend Chinmaya Mission courses here itself and realize it. You cannot, the point is, you cannot escape this process, because only Jnanam says the Na yogena na sankhena karmana no na siddhaya brahmatmaikatva bodhena moksha siddhyati na anyatha. It's like a declaration. Shankaracharya says, only by this process of jnanam only one can, because the root cause is the ignorance. So it's your choice. You want to take a longer time or a closer time? That's up to you. In Egypt, the pharaohs were buried with their gold, dog and their belongings. Did they take them to neither world with them? If they have taken it, you won't know that they have been buried, right? Because if they are buried and you are saying, that means obviously they didn't take it. It's obvious by the very question itself. So obviously no one can take anything. How can anything? Because gross matter remains here. So in the Chandogya Upanishad, the statements are given how exactly death occurs. In the 15th chapter also it is there. Okay, 15th chapter of the Gita. So you live one by one. In the case of Ajnani, means not realize. So he withdraws all that along with the vasanas and moves into an environment that is where the vasanas are ready to germinate, and try to find if it is a Svargaloka, different lokas, or going down. We have a lot of, depending upon how much credit you have, we have different resort areas there, all the way up, all the way up. And also we have other kind of areas, those who have got other accounts also. 6 lokas up and 6 lokas up. So depending on that, and once your account is over, you are pushed back here. Not that, nobody wants to leave that place, so you will be pushed out of that place. So that is exactly what Gita said, not Krishna himself says. So therefore, depending on that, you will be essentially going. Now, you cannot take anything. So there is a story that Alexander the Great, he conquered all that, and when he was dying, he said, please bury me with the hands like this. He says, why? To let them know that I'm not taking anything with me. All that was just nonsense, because in spite of what I have done, nothing I could take with me. Everything. The ownership itself is just a notion. What is that I own? I don't even own the body. He was telling about, so even the body is given to me, and I may misuse it by not knowing it. He's telling you how to use it properly, so that you, with a proper environment, you can make use of it better. So when nothing really belongs to me, what is there to take and give? That's why Svadiyam vastu Govinda tubhyameva samarpye. Oh Lord, this is yours only. I am offering it to you because I have a misunderstanding that this is mine. What I am offering it is only my misunderstanding that this is mine. That's what I have to give up. And that's what is essentially giving. What he's talking about is giving more than what we take. That is the essence of our Chinmaya Mission pledge itself. Since Sri Shankaracharya and Viveka Chudamani has been quoted, please bear with the quotation. Okay, I do. Jivan Mukta and Atma Vicharana and Darshana connected. I thought we did answer, didn't we?
Not with the Jivan Mukta. You did answer the realization.
Oh, Jivan Mukta. Oh, that I'm going to come into in the future. Yeah. Jivan Mukta, we're going to talk about it a lot more. Atma Vicharana makes you to Jivan Mukta. And Darshanam is what? Drashtavyaha, that's the first statement of the Yajnavalkya in the Maitreya Brahmana. Drashtavyaha, Srotavyaha, Mantavyaha. So, Drashtavyaha means, even though it is a Vidhi statement, it is Shankaracharya defines is Aparokshataha Jnatavyaha. Means, see that Paroksha means immediate and direct. Why immediate direct? Just like the 10th man story. What's the 10th man? Say, you are the 10th man, what do I have to do? I have to recognize, see, right there, because I am. What I am searching for, that's what I am already. So it is directly, immediately available. If it is not immediately available, then I have to do some work. I have to go there to see where it is and all that. But it is right there, right here, because now, what am I looking for? I am looking for myself. So where do I have to go to look for myself? Himalayas? Where should I have to go? Wherever I am there. So, but then what am I searching for? So here is a statement. When the seeker and the sought are one and the same, any seeking on the part of a seeker is going to be miserably failure. Why? You know what a statement. When the seeker and the sought are one and the same, any seeking on the part of a seeker is going to fail because he already assumed that the sought is not there where the seeker is. Right? Follow this. Therefore, what should I do? You need a mirror to say you are already here. And the mirror is darshanam or darpanam, and that's what is Vedanta. Okay? So Vedanta will reflect me back, and that's why it is aprameyam. See, this is not a prama, and remember I gave you pramata, prama and all that. This itself cannot be known. Why it cannot be known? Brahman cannot be known because it's infinite. I also cannot be known because I am a subject, because I can only know objects. So it is not something to know, but something to be. It's a clear understanding what I already am. I'm not going to become something. Finite cannot become infinite. Right? That's a logical statement. Infinite is already infinite. But infinite thinks that I am a finite, then it needs education. Right? That's exactly what needs to be understood. Indian subcontinent has been invaded geopolitically, religiously by others, which have been continuously eroding, destroying ours. Whatever you call it, even the current cultural government, central government is aligning with all the new minorities to keep its power. Where do you think our future Indian values will be when for all corners, politically and others, the country values one and cultural erosion? Where I think we are going to be depends upon what you are going to do. Because I can easily talk about where I am going to be. It is you who are asking the question. Unless you do something about it, when you recognize the problem, then you have to come forward and come with a solution to the problem. Because this is what I learned from my Gurudev. Because when I went and complained it, the best thing is then you do it.
Can I answer that question?
Yes, please.
I was with the Chief Justice of India, one of the Supreme Court of India last week. Somebody from the audience made an observation. He quoted one of the earliest viceroys from 1850 something. He writes a letter to the king, or the queen, I don't know who was there at the time. History is not that what he said. We can never break into India unless we destroy their culture. Their culture is so strong, as long as the culture is intact, we can never take root in India. So they systematically destroy the culture in India. Who asked the question? You? Yeah, you're absolutely right. And that is what it took for British to gain ground control in India, to destroy the Indian culture, which is continuing. That's one aspect of it. It was in 1964, His Holiness Swami Tirmananda founded VHP. He is the founder of VHP. He is the permanent chairman of VHP until he attained Mahasamadhi. He said, we are being exploited. No, that's not true. The politicians are ignoring the majority to get votes from the significant minority, which is less than 20% at the time. They were consistently winning the election because the majority was split. That's when he said, we need to have a Hindu vote back. And he formed the VHP. Go back. 1951 is when His Holiness gave the first discourse in Pune. The year the BJP was formed. And he had role in it. The solution, as Sadaji said, is weak. Is nowhere else.
So that is your Indian culture
what the Viceroy said is the fabric in India is so strong. Yes, what I presume what he was referring to is Hindu culture. When he said India at the time, minorities were less than 10%.
But the essence of Hinduism is all embracing. The essence of Hinduism is all embracing.
I know.
Every religion
But the
goes
only
into
way
one.
the British could downhold is to break the culture.
But you're,
Of
breaking
our reincarnation theory and prarabdha karma, remember we were accepting everything that happened to us because of prarabdha karma, by law of karma and law of reincarnation. He said we must break that. That's when they could gain the ground control in India.
So it's synonymous. Culture and religion.
Yeah, right.
So ultimately,
How to define a culture? Swamiji described it beautifully. A group of people living in a certain location for a prolonged period of time, prolonged really long, develop a way of life, irrespective of their religion, their culture. Original Muslims in India have a very similar culture to the Hindus. The Christians in India have a very similar culture to Hindus, unlike Christians from other parts of the world or Muslims from the Middle East, because they live together for a long period of time. In a given geographical location, they have certain habits that they develop. That is their culture. You said religion and culture, yes, they are very similar because they are living side by side, next door to each other. All the politicians are exploiting the minor differences to get their vote.
We read that in the first book, Kildare, actually.
That's a
Says
definition.
if one person does something wrong, it's his own fault.
Yes.
If the entire society embraces something over a period of time, they call it their culture, whether right or wrong. Some wrong culture or right culture. It has nothing to do with religion. It has everything to do with the way of life rather than religion.
Individual culture is Samskrita.
But unfortunately, a lot of people are
Sanskrit.
Yeah, but unfortunately, the equation becomes religion and culture, and like you just said, that's not true.
Yeah, they live very similar culture. They are,
Exactly. Regardless of religion.
they
you-
still, but the British.
Guys, let's get back to the.
For the British to break into, they need to break our culture.
yeah, I think normally we shouldn't have dialogues, but what he says that's true. Unless what can I do instead of questioning all these things, question is how do I can prevent this. That should be the motivation to come up with some solutions. Otherwise, generally, what do I think? It doesn't matter what I think, but what you think that has to be done has to come forward, and that's the only way to solve the problems. And the important thing is unity is the problem. Lack of unity is the problem, and they are ready to exploit our differences for their own advantage. That is what the whole problem is. Okay. Questions for Acharya Sadananda. Sudharam and Jaya. They are there? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Because otherwise I will postpone this. I was fascinated by why most of Hindu god idols are depicted in blue, black, dark colors. Why was that? There is a book on God symbolism by Chinmaya Mission. So I recommend you to read that. Everything is answered, most of the questions. Normally blue is indicative of infinite, because blue sky infinite, the blue sea is all infinite. So infinity is a representation of the blueness, and Lord Krishna is blue. All this, so it's some of that. But there are several aspects are involved in the God symbolism, and that's beautiful to read on. And because the question is very broad, so it depends upon what. So it's better to read the whole book that's available there.
What's the name of the book? Symbolism in Hinduism.
Symbolism. How did Samashti Vasanas create the world? Did the tiger's vasanas of wanting food create men and other praise? And men's vasanas create other kinds of food and praise, including fruits and vegetables. Yes, Samashti Vasana is the sum of all my vasanas. How did this environment came into picture? Today's class, this weekend class. He has a desire, not just because he has only desire, but all people are interested in it. Those vasanas are there to bring. And I have vasanas because my teacher asked me, wherever somebody asks, go and talk. That's what he gave me to. So all vasanas are brought together to bring to this environment. So this is a samashti vasanas, creating a samashti environment for everyone to exhaust. Similarly, all vasanas of all people together is the root cause or seed for the creation of that particular environment. This is true for across the board. Even for the environment of a better Hindu religion or better India, samashti vasanas have to come together to make it happen. But how does it make it happen? You have to inspire people by your own effort in that processes. You have to sacrifice yourself in the process also. And that is what is required. Every Mahatma sacrificed themselves in order to uplift the whole society itself. And we are the Mahatma Gandhi sacrificed the whole himself and but in the process, the whole generation are being benefited. So that comes from individual looking at the vision. And the same is from the Swami Chinmayanji. One person, he was coming down, and now how many organizations and Brahma, if you go to some number of brahmacharis, number of society, number of this, innumerable, and you can't even imagine that kind of thing. But that was started with one person. So when I say it's what depends upon you, so if you are inspired by what you want, you think, then you lead it. And that becomes everybody will do. It doesn't matter who coins. When you give that, Lord will always there to help. There is a story in one of the Upanishads, and the story is a little boy deposited eggs close to the ocean. Says, I deposited, it seems to be a good place here. And then went back, and by the time it came back, the sea expanded and took the old eggs also with it. So this little bird got so angry with the ocean. How dare you take my, he said, please give me back my eggs. No answer. If you don't, I'm going to teach you a lesson. What is the lesson? I'm going to dry you up. This little bird going to dry. How? She took a little bit of water in her beak, went all the way and deposited somewhere else. Again came back, took a little bit and went. That's how she wants to dry the whole ocean so that she can take the eggs. Now you see, your task is simpler compared to this little bird's task. Only India are talking about. This is going on methodically because she is determined to do this. Irrespective of what, because she wants to teach a lesson to that ocean that never, from now on, it will affect the bird's eggs. Then, as he was doing back and forth, the Garuda was flying and suddenly saw and said, what is this fellow doing little down? After all, he is my own family. So what's he doing? He's so curious. So taking little water, after how much beak is also so small, taking few drops and depositing there, coming back again. Watch it, says, she became curious more. So came down, says, what are you doing? Don't disturb me, I'm too busy. I have to take water. I want to say, what are you doing? I may help you. I am trying to dry this ocean. I say, why? Because it took my eggs away. Say, what is the problem? All hearings was, okay, I'm going to help you. So Garuda started helping in terms of taking the water. The ocean appeared, says, please, don't do this. Then we say, what is it? I'll give back her eggs, but ask her to deposit a little bit far away from me because my nature is to expand and it will come automatically. So ask her to depart somewhere else so that this will be safe. Implication of the story is, if you are determined to do it, in spite of whatever the problem is, however big the task is, the help will come to you. This is true for all organizational efforts, everything that Kamala tells stories. You just saw Chinmaya Vijaya, a simple thought, but so many people came forward to help. Automatically comes. The Lord Himself will see it in one form or another. And Gurudev has a simple example. Don't go after Lakshmi. Go after Narayana Narayana will bring Lakshmi also. That's it. Because he carries her all the time. So that is the only way. That's how I don't know how it came, but anyway, that is Samishti Vasanas. Please help us understand how Vasanas are passed from one birth to another. So the Vasanas, but death is first to understand. If you understand the death, you know what is birth is. Death is involving the separation of subtle body from the gross body. So subtle body includes direction, which is Vasanas are the directions in which the thought flow. Thought is flowing means it needs a direction. How does it think? You think one way, I think other way. That's our Vasanas. So thought flow is essentially the whole mind is nothing but the flow of thoughts. So the mind, intellect, all that, plus the Pancha Pranas, plus the Pancha Indriyas and the Pancha Karmendriyas, Jnanendriyas, all are packed together and leave with its package, the subtle body leaves. What is left is only matter, gross matter. So don't say Atma left. Atma doesn't leave. Atma is all pervading. Only the mind, intellect, subtle body is leaving. Remember, wherever the subtle body, it has the capacity to get shine, reflecting the consciousness. You remember all that now. That is moving. Where does it move? It moves in the direction of the next powerful Vasana. So after the class is over, where do you go? Your next powerful Vasana will tell you where you go. You have to go home, or you have to go here, or you have to go back, and the Mukamala has to go to airport. All these things are determined by your already predetermined of this. Vasanas will tell you that. So the directions are dictated by. So when you leave this place, because this is no more conducive environment for you, you seek an environment that is conducive to the next set of vasanas that are ready to germinate, or ready potentially there, and that you go along with it. So that's what essentially is leaving. So how does it go? You take with your vasanas. You don't take anybody else's vasanas. You have a big account called Sanchita Karma. Total account, you only brought into this life only a little bit only, called Prarabdha Karma. And that's why you select an environment conducive, so this body, mind and intellect is determined by that Prarabdha Karma. I'm going to tell later about Jnani, so this is what introduction I'm using. So therefore Prarabdha Karma depends where you are born and all that, the genetically created genes are coming because of the Prarabdha Karma. So you don't just select whatever genes, it is dictated by your Prarabdha Karma. So what you have is Prarabdha. Now, and this will give you indication of how you can change the local genes, but from the point you can change your vasanas, and then future Prarabdha is nothing but past Prarabdha modified by your present actions. That's what is the whole philosophy is. And you carry your vasanas until when you are in this life, when you have a will to do, then you accumulate new vasanas which are called agami karma, whether you exhaust in this life or put it back into your account. Nothing new is added, nothing old will be removed, everything is perfectly systematic. And when the new set of vasanas are ready to you, seek an environment that is conducive to where you can exhaust. Once you start attending Vedanta class, things will start different. How? Because your genes changing now. Why? Because now we have science also. Our expression of the genes are going to change. Because you now see there is a purpose in life which is higher. Now in this hierarchy of the vasanas and all that, remember the freshly created vasanas are more powerful than the old ones. Because this is a new one, and that has a more potential there to drive you, even though old vasanas are driving you to do, hey, let's go to bar instead of why satsang and all this. This is not, no, I had enough of this, I want to do this. So new vasanas that are acquired will have more powerful than the old ones. So all that prarabdha, purushartha, all that baggage and all that, don't worry about all that. What you need to do is what I'm going to do from now on. I can change my life. I can go up in spite of my vasanas. And that is essentially this Purushartha is required. And that will change my future vasanas to the degree that Once I know what it is, truth, what happens to all this whole baggage and all that? When I realize in this life I am not even a doer, then no results will belong to me. Right? It belongs to only doer. But I realized I never did also. I thought I did, but I realized that I am never a doer. Not only now, I am Nitya Mukta Swarupoham. That's what the understanding is. Therefore, what happened to all the Sanchita Karma there? You know, when the letter is posted, the fellow is gone, dead, what happens to the letter? That letter office, we don't know where it goes, right? However, the good parts of that total can be gained by those people who follow that Mahatma. And the bad parts of that goes who criticize even that Mahatma also. So one has to be careful, don't unnecessarily judge and so this is not, these Swamis are all not good and that Swamis is that kind of, don't even encourage that kind of talks. We don't know. Are you good enough to evaluate somebody else's goodness? So you be good in the process and you become a great Swami. That is what is more important than trying to evaluate other people's judgment of this Swamis are better Swamis, that Swamis and all that. It's all because you are going to accumulate their vasanas only unnecessarily. So that is very important in terms of the process wise.
Sadaji, in the last question, can you inject some science of genetics? Or there is no such thing?
No, the scientist is there, but genetically, what genetically is prarabdha karma you are bringing to an environment conducive to exhaust your vasanas. Now, what kind of environment will exhaust? Obviously, I need this kind of parental. Krishna answers a question for Arjuna. Arjuna asks the same question. What happens to this gentleman who is attending the Vedanta classes, but at the same time he was still involved in other things, is Ubhaya Brashtaha. Ubhaya Brashta means he neither realized this one or nor he gave up. He neither got this one or not this one. What happens to him? That was the question of Arjuna. And Krishna answered, and you alone can answer because anybody else answers because they don't know what is on the after death. And Krishna answers, nothing will be wasted. Because he will be born in a conducive environment that is conducive for rapid growth from the next life on. Therefore, all that will be helpful for him. Now you can see a lot of Mahatmas from childhood itself they are coming. Remember Saptavadanyaya? They already done all that previous things already for them to grow. So nothing will be. So genetically also, he will be born in an environment conducive for his rapid growth also. So genes are not, you say, I am going to have these genes. No, he will have that particular genes that are conducive for to exhaust the vasanas. And that is the environment he will be born. And that's what is the blessing is. That's what according to Vedanta. Now that's what Krishna, I'm sorry, this is Krishna's answer to the question of Arjuna. That's what he says. Why is any yajna done for loka kalyanam? So yajna means what? A cooperative action. This is a Swami Chinmayananda's definition. It's a cooperative endeavor performed with the self-sacrificing mode for the benefit of totality. That's what is yajna is. So whatever, so at that time in the olden days they used to perform yajnas, homams and all that. And whole town or all the cities used to participate. A milkman used to bring his milk, and the construction people used to do their part. So every part is pitching into the total yajna. So one fellow says, everybody is bringing milk, I don't need to, I can put water on my share. No, it's not that. Everybody is doing their part, their best, in a self-sacrificing way for the benefit of the totality. That's how Swamiji defines it. It's a beautiful definition. So everything is, I told you from the example, from the point of individual, when all my mind, intellect, all parts are put into my action in a total self-sacrificing of each one, of each component, then I cannot but exhaust maximize my efficiency. That is what is the yajna is. Also yajna is Ishwararpitam. Remember, yajna means the Lord also said. So if I perform the action in the Ishwararpita buddhi, so Ishvara is what the whole totality itself. So I am performing to the benefit of the totality, even though what I am doing at a locality level or local level, but my attitude is serving the totality. Not for my sake, but for the sake of the totality. Therefore, in the process, my selfishness, all that is get neutralized. Vasanas get neutralized. And it's like taking the prongs of the snake and it becomes now a bhushanam. Pannaga bhushanam. That's what is symbolism. You ask, symbolism of all snakes means vasanas. But snakes become a decoration for the Lord. Shiva wears as a bhushana. And the another guy, the Vishnu, sleeps on it. But he's having a bed, water bed. So comfortably. But remember, all that, in the symbolism faces, he has 7 hoods. The Adisesha has 7 hoods. The 5 senses and the mind and intellect looking inwards towards the Lord. Lord is inwards. So he's lying there inside, and every heart I am there. So all 5 senses and intellect is looking inside at the very nature of the Lord, who is the very enlivening factor of the whole body, mind and intellect. That is what is the and that is the symbolism of God also. What is the life purpose? Is there anything else than life being the glory of God? No, life purpose is to recognize that it is the glory of your own self. So even we will go into the next, who is the Ishvara? We are going to Ishvara Saram. We are going to talk about it. So the Lord is something, still I am saying, remember I told you the triangular format, Jiva, Ishvara and Jagat. That has to be reduced to, after the class is over or before, to Atma Anatma Vichara. There is only Atma that is surveyed, everything else is only superficial entities on top of it. There is only gold, everything is just name and forms. There is only me, everything is nothing but names and forms. That has to be recognition after the class is over. At least this is the Vedantic class. So, therefore, what is the glory? Glory is to recognize your own glory. That is the glory of life. Right now I think I am only little guy, small guy, and then struggling hard in my life. Says not, that's not your glory. Your glory is you are infinite itself. You are Ananda Swarupa. What is there for you to look for? There is nothing there to really do for something. Whatever you do should be glorifying things only. So that is the purpose of life. So it's not the glory of, you recognize that it is the glory of your own self, but for courtesy's sake, you can say it's the glory of the Lord. Okay? You don't have to go and say, look at my glory. You don't have to declare it. So if you go to a temple and say, that's me only, they will put you up. So you don't have to say. You don't have to say. You don't have to use strange language also. Oh, this body, Guruji should recommend, after the class is over, one fellow introducing, sir, this body is married to that body. So you don't have to use strange language to communicate. He's introducing his wife. So you can ask normal language for transactional purposes. So knowledge is different. So if Brahman is all-pervading, he is in myself, that's true. And he does not need realization, that's also true. Whatever is in me is real, including vasanas, then why do I need to realize him? You don't need to realize anybody. If you have realized that you are Brahman, accomplish. Mission accomplished. There's nothing else to do. One fellow went to Gurudev. Swamiji, I understand. I've been attending your classes. I know I am Brahman, but why am I suffering? Swamiji looked at him. I also want to know, why are you suffering? It's so strange. So, if I realize that I am Brahman, what you said is not as a thought, but as a fact. Remember? Then the purpose is done. To recognize that it is a fact only, all these things required. So, we welcome you, we respect you. If you realize that you are a Brahman, please let us know. No, I'm just kidding. But it has to be as an understood as a fact. When you understand as a fact, you see the beauty of it. That question itself gets dissolved. Because you see the beauty, oh, it's my own glory. Even in that form also, it's my glory. Okay? Hey, he's misbehaving. My God, I could misbehave like that also. You see that the love cannot but flow in that. Compassion comes automatically. All that are product of recognition that I am in everything also. Okay? When that real understanding comes, these questions automatically will get dissolved. So, my congratulations if you have really realized it, but at least that's good. Oh, that's over. Okay. How do you explain people being born into homes with addiction, poverty, disease, etc.? So how do you explain? Only the explanation we can give is nothing happens for just anything. No, samoham sarvabhuteshu namya dveshostina priya. So nothing is done unnecessarily for anything. So if I have the drunkard vasanas, then I'll need to find an environment conducive where the drinkings are being provided, right? Where Vedanta class, then I'll try to find out where the Vedanta class is, that's where I go. But if there's a free drinks and they called, what do you call the evening? There's an open happy hour. Happy hour is there. All drinks are free. Happy hour. Happy hour are free. That's what I would like to go because that's my vasanas. So nothing is really but in spite of the environment, if the person comes out of it, in spite of the genetically acquired, but he acquired because of some samskara coming out. I don't know how many people know the Kerala lady, the Amma. You should read the biography of that. You will cry almost. She's born in the family, in the Fisher family. She's discriminated by own family because she was blacker than the rest of the people there. You should read it. She used to cry in the middle of the night for all the misbehaviors because she has to cook for everybody else and they can go to school and she was suffering at home. But she used to cry in front of the Lord and became one with the Lord. Now looking back, all that was necessary for her to do this, right? That environment was conducive for her to run to the God. So if you look at what is the environment, whatever environment is given to you, that's the right environment. Don't criticize. I say, I'm born, I didn't have this, I don't know. Whatever you have, now is the time you are given opportunity to grow beyond. Take that and use. Lord will give you, pour out everything else for you. That is the promise of the Lord himself. So nothing will really affect in terms of addictions, poverty, diseases. One has a leprosy disease. He went and wrote Narayaniyam, the whole on the Lord Narayana, and that is the don't think about the things that you don't have. Say what I can do with what I have. That is what this should be, for which we can all grow. So with that, everything is over here. Questions. We'll take a couple of minutes break and then.